thinking about Joaquin Phoenix playing the role of Doctor Strange. I don't know if you read that at all, or
yeah, I know Doctor Strange. Yeah,
yeah, no. I'm talking about Joaquin Phoenix playing Doctor Strange.
I did. I'm so intrigued by this because he always came across to me as a guy who's kind of resisting this sort of movie, especially the last few years.
Right
after his stunt and then his comeback, his amazing comeback in The Master, and a few films of late that he's done. He had this really brief bit where he was doing films like Signs, but for the most part, he's always kind of sought offbeat, really kind of off the radar sort of film.
Right.
So it's very intriguing to me that he would want to be in a movie like this.
He doesn't strike me, I have to be honest, that he doesn't strike me as a Doctor Strange. From a comic book aspect, maybe they're going someplace else with him, but he doesn't strike me as a Doctor Strange that I would know. Someone who does strike me as a Doctor Strange more than him is a guy that I thought always would be a good Doctor Strange, and that would be Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, he has the look. He has the look. He has the length. He looks like a Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange, of course, is a great character. Once again, if you don't know anything about comics, he actually was the leader of the Avengers for some time too. So he was actually mentioned in the Captain America movie. So if you were listening, so that's very cool. But anywho, Joaquin Phoenix is being, I guess, propositioned for the role of Doctor Strange. So I don't know if that was a Comic-Con announcement or not, but I know that it relates to the Marvel panel for sure, because that's going to be Phase 3 of the Marvel Universe film. So, matter of fact, I believe Guardians of the Galaxy, which, by the way, we may be seeing later on tonight, and by the way, we may be doing an impromptu podcast. If you listen to this before or after, we may be doing an impromptu impression of what we thought of Guardians of the Galaxy when we see it tonight. But anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy marks the end of of Phase 2, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right about that? Because Phase 3 starts with the Avengers 2.
Right.
So this is the end of the Phase 2 of Marvel's planned. I think it's 3 phases.
Yes.
Yeah. So this Marvel universe is gigantic, and it is becoming quite a beast at the box office for both Marvel. Well, I can't even say that, Disney, because they own it. Yeah. And the people are really in love with the universe. They're really enjoying where they're going with it, and I think this is a very, very fragile universe that Marvel doesn't want to screw up, and maybe that's why they're having such a problem with Edgar Wright, possibly. So that's what I'm thinking. They want to keep a tight rein on the fluidity of the characters and of the story. So
I also wonder if he's just a little too idiosyncratic for this, and I mean that in a respectful way.
Sure.
In the same way Mark Romanek was fired from The Wolfman and replaced by Joe Johnston, who's a great director, but certainly a little more, let's just say, traditional.
Mark Romanek would have been a better director for The Wolfman.
I agree. I love Mark Romanek.
I believe so. I think you're absolutely right on that point. So moving on to more Comic-Con news. Anything else that you found interesting?
The last thing I want to mention about the Marvel panel before we move on to Marvel.
Sure. What is that?
Just how they released the press the list of all of the subsequent films that
were released. Slate. Yes, good idea.
And it's everything. And forgive me, I don't have the slate on me, but I will say that it goes all the way to 2019.
Right, it does.
And on the one hand, I saw this and I'm like, gosh, that's so daunting. Like, here's a list of all the movies I need to see for like the next 3 or 4 years. But at the same time, I thought, this is so cool. This is like when I was a kid and I would be reading like Secret Wars and they would say the story continues and this, like, give me the list,
right.
My grocery list of comics I have to buy. And I love that they're kind of sticking with that, going, look, we have a plan for this, we have an idea for this, we have a narrative, architecture for this. And I think that's so cool. I really enjoy that they're doing this.
And right now, as far as we know, it's smart for Disney to go, hey, we're going to buy up your company, but you keep doing what you're doing, and we'll leave you the heck alone.
Yes.
It's a very smart idea. I mean, incorporating that into the Disney brand, a lot of people had a problem with, but as long as Disney is putting their Mickey Mouse fingers into my Marvel pie, I think I'm fine. So, you know what I mean?
Keep your damn fingers out of our Marvel pie.
Keep it out of my Marvel pie, all right? Because the Avengers taste delicious, as they are already. So, yeah, anything else pique your interest?
Mad Max.
This year?
Mad
Max,
I mean,
yes!
Oh my God, like, I've heard about this thing for so long. I kind of wondered...
Fury Road is what it's called, right?
I'm wondering, was this thing even happening? To see the footage was so exciting. It looks like it belongs... It belongs, for Pete's sake, the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome is going to be 25 years, 25 or 30. It's going to be 30 years old next year when this thing comes out. And despite a 30-year gap, it looks like it belongs in that world. It looks like George Miller never left the set.
Wait. See, that's not... You're burying the lead. George Miller is back doing Mad Max. It's not another director. He wrote it. He directed it. He supervised it. He's done everything for this new Mad Max film, Fury Road, starring the one and only Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. Yeah. So I have to very much admire his tenacity in keeping with the vision of the originals, for sure. You know what's funny is that you mentioned the fact that Mad Max is going to be 30 years old beyond Thunderdome. What's interesting is that you could still bring back Mel Gibson as the character in this new movie if you felt so compelled to do so. But you're right. If you have not seen the trailer is available online. I believe it's on YouTube. It's on a bunch of online sites. If you have not seen the trailer, Mad Max Fury Road looks like it belongs with the canon of the original Mad Max movies. And I got extremely excited after I saw the trailer. It was a 2.5-minute trailer, and I tell you what, it looks great. Yeah. What do you think?
It's thrilling stuff. It looks like it's going to have the same bruising, nailed, rusty impact as the original. Like, it doesn't look like it's going to be a cute, watered-down franchise movie. It looks like they let George Miller do whatever the heck he wanted, which is what he did for the first 3 films. Even though the third film, was made and distributed through Warner Brothers, it still felt like it, belonged in that same skanky world.
You're absolutely right, and it took a very interesting turn that it got away from the cars in the Beyond the Thunderdome. It got away from what made it famous in the Road Warrior and the original Mad Max film, but ironically enough, it still worked. Yeah. So what interested me the most about that trailer was the fact that it looked like this was traditional stunt work. Yeah. This didn't look like no CGI baloney. This looked like real cars from back in the day when I was a kid, where it looked like stuntmen were consistently in danger. You know what I mean?
And it looks like it has that kinetic energy. That's always been my favorite thing about Miller. As you remember, as any nerd listening to this will remember, one of my favorite films that Miller did was the Twilight Zone segment, the Nightmare at 20,000 Feet in Twilight Zone movie. Yes. How energized, how thrilling, how exciting, how visceral that sequence is. And it looks like it's going to be that same kind of thing where you may be watching a blank screen, but you're just immersed in this energy and this visceral reaction.
Yeah, if you have not seen it, Mad Max Fury Road, I was not excited until I saw that trailer, and that trailer has sold me on the film. I will be one of the first in line to see this film. It looks phenomenal. It made me... What's funny is I saw that trailer, it made me go home and watch Mad Max.
Nice.
So I didn't watch all of them, but I watched one, and I was like... And what's funny is if you have not seen the original Mad Max trailers, shame on you, first of all. But secondly, if you have not, take a look at them. They are phenomenal. They aged really well. And I think the original Mad Max... The one that they had to subtitle or to dub.
That's right.
From 1979.
The Aussie lingo.
We didn't understand the Aussie English dialect. Yeah, you call it. It's a better film than most people think.
I love the first one. Yeah, that's still my favorite. Yeah. I mean, Road Warrior and even Thunderdome are arguably better just because they're larger in scope. Right. But I love the original. It's still my favorite.
Check them out. Mad Max Trilogy is available now. Get you prepared and just primed for Mad Max Fury Road. And I tell you what. I have to say that Tom Hardy, from just the trailer itself, looks like he fits right in that car, right in that driver's seat, and he fits perfectly.
And so does Charlize Theron.
And she cut her hair for the film. She was, by the way, she cut her hair for that film, buzzed it off. She had to wear a wig for A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in order to, because she was filming that at the same time.
That's so cool.
So she had to wear a wig for A Million Ways to Die in the West. So, while The Million Ways to Die in the West died at the box office, hopefully this will be one of those big tentpole tentpole movies when it comes out. I don't know if it's the summer of 2015 or the spring.
It's May.
Is it?
It's
May
2015. Yeah, it's awesome. One of the big summer films. And how cool is it that no matter how Fury Road does, there's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of geeks all over the world clamoring to see the original Mad Max movies. How cool is that?
Absolutely.
Mel Gibson's going to be cool again for a little while next summer.
Right. Before he mouths off about the Jews or whatever it is that he does.
Don't do it, Mel.
I know, don't do it, Mel. Don't. Stay out of it. You made some great movies. As a matter of fact, speaking of Mel, changing the subject, now that those are the two big Comic-Con things that we wanted to touch on for sure. There's very little gaming news coming out of Comic-Con this year, which is fine. It was a lot about Marvel and Mad Max. So moving on to Mel Gibson. Unfortunately, there's a new film coming out August 15th, which I am completely and utterly looking forward to seeing. It stars Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's got Terry Crews in it. It's got all the standards. It's the Expendables III. Unfortunately, for it, someone ended up leaking out the screener online. Now it has hit the interwebs, and from all intents and purposes, from what I've been reading about these people that have seen it, they say that it's a lot of fun. Mel Gibson is great because he's in the film. It is unfortunate, though, that I don't know how this stuff gets out there, or who does Sylvester Stallone actually hand it off to go, hey, listen, watch this flick, and then whatever you do, don't put it online.
Yeah.
Or who's the guy in the production truck or doing what? How does that happen? How does something? And like I said, this isn't like a horrible copy. This is a quality copy of this film that's been put out on the interwebs. And from your perspective, being a professor of cinema, how does stuff like that happen? Who loose lips sink ships, and whose loose lips were these, and who's going to get fired?
What scares me is that, as you said, this is a pristine DVD copy. That bothers me. That there's not a time clock on it.
There isn't.
And that it's crystal clear quality. This is something you could sell at Walmart right now. That bothers me.
Right, absolutely. So what's interesting to me is it how it got out there in the first place. I know that we live in a vast internet society, but I mean, considering the fact that we do live out in the internet age, who do you give it to, and who's risking their reputation and their job to put it out online? You know what I mean?
My only conspiracy theory that I'll offer, and I doubt there's any merit to this, but what the heck? Let's throw this out.
Throw it out there.
I suspect that somebody at Lionsgate said, "Look, it's towards the end of the summer. Kids are getting ready to go back to school. We need publicity. There's no better way to get a taste for this movie, to get the word out weeks. In fact, the week of Comic-Con, ironically enough, coincidentally enough, let's leak it online. The word will get out. We'll shake our fingers and go, poo-poo to those who watch this film. But really, bottom line, it's all about publicity. It was a stunt done by Lionsgate. That's my theory.
Wow, conspiratorial in theory.
Very much so.
I have to say that is not beyond a film company to do.
And it makes them look like the good guys. Like, oh, look at us. We're victims. You're seeing our movies for free. Won't you go and see it opening weekend again because you love it so much?
Look what happened to Kim Kardashian when her tape got leaked. She became huge, right?
Well, let's talk about Wolverine.
Okay.
Let's talk about the examples.
Is that a horrible example? Oh, that's right. Wolverine.
I'm a little behind on the films of Miss Kardashian.
I've missed them as well.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But you told me, wasn't it the first Expendables that this happened?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. I don't know if it was the first Expendables.
Or was it the second one?
It might have been the first one, I believe. But I do know that happened with the Wolverine film,
and they still had huge openings,
right? And that wasn't the Wolverine from a couple years ago. This was Wolverine X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that whatever copy that was a director's cut, because it was completely different apparently from the one that was put out.
Was it better?
It's what I heard. It was better. That's what I heard.
Man.
Oh my gosh. But anyway. We've touched on that. Expendables 3 comes out August 15th. Do what you can to support this movie. If you're a fan, I'm a huge fan. I grew up in that era. I'm a huge fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and I'm a big fan of over-bloated machismo. It's Sylvester Stallone makes machismo masterpieces. That's what he does. The last movie, Escape Plan, which I recommended for you to see, was great.
Yeah.
There's the magic of what 80s film used to be, action films used to be, is gone. Big guys, kicking the crap out of each other with big guns. I think some of that has gone by the wayside for more technologically advanced weapons and CGI and things like that. So, when you watch something that is so dripping with testosterone, like anything with Sylvester Stallone in it, for me at least, it really gets those. It makes you feel like a kid again. For me, because those are the guys you were watching when you were growing up. You know what I mean? When you watch Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, and you watch stuff like Rambo or Cobra, which I think is a completely underrated Sylvester Stallone flick. You watch those movies and you realize that Those guys, not the greatest actors in the world, but you know what they're good at? They're good at brooding. Not only they're good at brooding, they know how to hold a gun, and they know how to kick butt. Right?
Their